This right here, this is the Stix Compete driver, and honestly, it's one of the best drivers I've used in recent memory. But at $379, from a direct-to-consumer company, for a product you can't easily test out ahead of time, it's gonna be a tough sell for a lot of people. But even with all that in mind, should you consider it? Today I'm gonna do a full review, I'm gonna tell you what I like about it, what I don't, and try and help you figure out if it's a product you should consider putting in your bag. If that sounds interesting, let's do this thing. So over the course of the last 3 years, I've honestly been really surprised with Stix golf clubs. So the whole idea behind Stix is they're a direct-to-consumer brand where you get high-quality clubs that are as good as any of the best clubs out there, but you do it for a fraction of the price. They do that by going direct-to-consumer and by keeping some of their designs a little bit more minimalist than other higher-end clubs. So in my initial review of the Stix Perform series of clubs, I was highly skeptical. It's a full set of clubs that you can get for under $1,000 that are supposed to be just as good as the big-name brands. So I took it out, second shot, I'm on the chipping green, I chip it in the hole. First hole, I didn't even go to the range, I just went straight out cold, drive down the center, 8 iron to 5 feet, made the putt for birdie. This is on a hole I've birdied maybe like 3 times in 10 years. I was like, all right, luck, or are these clubs actually good? Well, dozens of rounds later, I can now say that the clubs are actually really good and they're excellent considering the price. For me personally, I've got a big slice. Stix knows that most amateur golfers and most beginning to intermediate golfers, that's going to be their miss, the slice. So all of their clubs have a little bit of a draw bias, which for me personally has really helped to minimize that big slice, which is my big miss. Now the original Stix driver, the one that's come with pretty much every box set of clubs they've got, it's fine. Distance-wise, I found it to pretty much be on par with my Callaway Maverick. That's the driver I've had in my bag for the last few years, but there was something about it that just wasn't very confidence-inducing. Stix does an excellent job of their branding. All of their clubs have this matte black and gray aesthetic with little hints of red that just looks really sleek. But there's something about the driver, even though the colors look good, that with the original Stix driver, I'm looking down at it, it just feels like a cheaper club. Like if you're standing over a brand new TaylorMade QI10, you're kind of looking down, you're like, yeah, like, I got some confidence, this feels good. When you're standing over the original Stix driver, it's like, well, it feels like a glorified box set driver. And it's better than most box set drivers out there, but it's still not necessarily my favorite driver I've ever used. Now that you've got that background, let's talk about this. This is the Compete driver, which is essentially Stix's answer to other high-end drivers. So it's got a few firsts for Stix. It's the first Stix club that's adjustable, so you can adjust from 8 to 10 degrees loft, and you can adjust between fade and draw bias. It also has a carbon fiber head that when you're looking down at it at address, just, again, makes you feel like you have a higher end club in your hand because, well, you do. This is a much nicer, much more expensive, much better built club than the Stix driver. It's not to say the original Stix driver is bad, especially for beginning golfers. You're not going to know any better and it's going to work for you just fine. But if you're someone who's really trying to improve your game, break into single digits, or even get into like a low single digit handicap, then this is going to be a much better club. Hey, real quick, not sure if this is the driver for you. I've got a best drivers post where I go through all of my picks for the best drivers on the market, regardless of what you were looking for. So I will link to that below. You can even go watch it while you finish watching this video. I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it. From a first impression standpoint, like I said, the carbon fiber looks great, the matte black looks great. As I mentioned, it does have that adjustability, but it doesn't have any of the information around what loft or what setting you have on the outside of the club. So in order to see that, you gotta unscrew it and go through the whole thing. I kinda like it when I can look down at a glance and see, okay, yes, this is set up for draw bias, or yes, this is set up for a 9-degree loft. So it definitely looks sleeker this way, but it's just a little bit less useful for me personally. All that doesn't mean much if it doesn't perform on the course. So what's my experience been like? Honestly, it's been a lot better than I expected it to be. So I got fit for a Callaway Maverick driver with a Ventus shaft about 4 years ago, and the all-in cost for that club was like $900. It was a very expensive club. Well, my golf game has shifted, and I no longer feel like that's necessarily the best club for me. So going out, I've now spent some time on the range with this, as well as played 2 rounds with it, and it's really surprised me. So first off, over the course of those rounds, I've gotten about 5 to 7 yards more than I have with the Callaway. I'm not saying this is a longer club. That could be due to conditions, temperature, wind, there's all sorts of factors, but it seems like this has gone a little bit further for me than my standard driver. The bigger thing for me I found though is it's significantly reduced spin, which has also significantly reduced my dispersion. So as I said, my big miss is a slice, so often at my home course, my big miss is gonna go OB on a number of holes. Well, for the most part, I haven't had those big misses. So not only have I not had as many slices with it, but the ones I have had have been a little bit minimized. So balls that would have been out of bounds with my old club were staying inbounds with this, which has led to lower scores. And I'm not the only one that's noticed this either. On the most recent round I played with this, I was with 2 friends that I've played dozens of rounds with over the years, and they were honestly shocked. They were like, dude, who are you? What driver are you playing with? Like, what is that? Pretty clearly, you found your new gamer. They were saying things like that, and honestly, I couldn't argue with them. I was hitting fairways, I was having more confidence. In particular, I was on the 6th hole at my home course. There's a big dogleg left, there's a bunker straight away, and oftentimes I slice it OB right. If I'm not OB, often I'm far enough right that I have to lay up on my second shot because it's a pretty tricky approach. With this, I'd been hitting it well, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna put it straight over the trees on the left, let it kind of fade back into the fairway, left of the bunker, and give myself a nice approach. And that's exactly what happened. That was when all my friends were like, dude, what is this and what's happened to you? So who knows, maybe I was just playing well, but I will say that I've had more confidence with this than I've had in my other driver in years. With that said, is this a club that you should buy? Maybe, maybe not. Honestly, there's so many good golf clubs out there. The best way to figure out what's right for you is to go and get fit. That's the hard part about this, is because it's direct to consumer, the only way to figure out if it's right for you is to buy it, try it out, and if it doesn't work, then return it within the return window. So at $379, this isn't cheap, especially considering for around that price, you can get last year's models from some of the big name manufacturers. But all I can say is, in my experience, this driver has been excellent. For my game, it's been one of the best clubs I have hit in recent memory. So while yes, it's going to be a tough sell for some of you, if you are already getting a Stix set, I would consider upgrading to this because I think it's going to complement the rest of the set beautifully, and it's really going to give you a club that you're going to be able to grow into and have confidence with. And if you're not someone that wants to take a chance on direct-to-consumer brand or a brand that's maybe geared towards mid to high handicaps, well then, I don't blame you. There's plenty of other great drivers out there, and you should go do your own research, but in my experience, this has been a driver that's definitely worth considering. My name's Sean Ogle, the founder of this thing here, Breaking 80, where we talk about cool golf products and cool golf courses. If you got some value out of this, hit the subscribe button right now. And if you want to see my picks for the best drivers currently on the market, I will link to that below. And I hope you have an excellent day. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.